Hello and welcome to another episode of The People's Rose.
Wow, really bringing it today.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Brooke.
And we are a married couple who really likes to watch reality TV. So we started a podcast you're listening to called The People's Rose, where we discuss the reality TV shows we watch, and that could be The Bachelor, The Golden Bachelor coming soon, Big Brother, Project Runway, all the Bravo shows that Brooks give us special coverage of, and many, many more. The Amazing Race. We watch them all. Well, not all of them, but all the ones we watch. And we talk about here on this podcast. If you've been enjoying our podcast so far and you've listened, please remember to rate and review us on whatever platform you listen to. And we're on every platform. And we just hope you join us when you can to listen to us talk reality TV. And this week, we're going to be talking about The Bachelorette. We're going to be talking about a little Project Runway. We're going to talk about a little spoiler live feed Big Brother discussion. And we're just excited, aren't we, Brooke?
Yeah.
I mean, and also a little just editor's note. We are just podcasting through it all right now. Brooke has 110-degree fever.
No.
She's sweating. She can
I
barely
might be
make
fighting
it.
some type of little flu.
Whatever it may be.
I am here for you people.
She is. Go ahead.
And I'm here for myself too, because I'm trying to just power through. Act
Right.
normal. Act like nothing's there.
Mailman, get out the way. Rain, snow, sleet,
or hail. I'm showing up
Brooke
to work.
is podcast. Well, I wouldn't call this work.
I know. I'm doing it because I want to have fun. I don't want to be laying around miserable.
Right. You're going to be laying around podcasting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something. Oh yeah, let's start off with The Bachelorette.
Oh, the finale.
The finale. It was a 3 hours long finale, and I'm not gonna lie. Going into it, I really truly just kind of forgot it was the finale.
I was just like, let's just get to it.
Yeah, it wasn't. I guess because the drama just wasn't very dramatic.
Yeah.
And I kind of was. It was a foregone conclusion. I've been saying for weeks now that I feel like it's Dotton, and so I was just like, let's just get to the end.
Well, so it started out at a rose ceremony.
That's right.
In which she let Aaron come, and
let's set the scene. We started off. How'd you feel about these 3 hours?
Oh, I forgot. We talked about. We saw him a little bit before the ceremony. I mean, this is par for the course. They always do this 3 hour thing on finale night.
Right. We're doing the studio audience, live studio audience finale, and thankfully we watched it a little bit on tape delay because we were recording it and started a little late because we were putting our little one down. But still 3 hours, even without commercials, is 3 hours.
It's long.
And we were getting a lot today. We were or Monday when it aired, we were getting a Bachelor tease, which we obviously know who that is now. We got some Golden Bachelor stuff, a little bit of that, but then we got to Aaron on the beach.
Got it.
They had their little date, and what'd you think of that little date? And just the whole Aaron resurface.
It just was so pointless. I think Charity should have just been mature and said, "Look, I'm glad. Not even I'm glad, but like I recognize that you made a lot of effort to take this trip out here, but I there's no way that my love for you can catch up to where I'm at with the other guys."
Yeah, I truly think her mom gave us a lot of insight into. She said it was just like almost a one sentence throwaway line of, I think Charity appreciates and likes being able to say that she's in love and loved by two different people.
Yeah.
And I think it's more than just Charity that happens to. She just got caught up in her emotions.
And, like, Xavier had just, dismissed himself, basically. Right. So I'm sure she was like, oh, well, now I have this. Okay.
Right. I'm sure the producers also encouraged it. So that rose ceremony wasn't just, okay, Joey and Dotton, you're all that's left.
Right. But, yeah, so we get to the rose ceremony. And, of course, Aaron is the one she sends home, and it's just kind of like, you came all the way out here to go on a rose ceremony? I don't know. Now, I will say, I'm a little salty, because we never saw the clip of her sitting outside of the hotel room saying he's refusing to leave.
Yeah, we don't really know who that was about.
But
and we don't even know when that happened, to be honest.
I know, you're right. But I'm wondering if she did go try to talk to Aaron and, like, talk him out of coming to the ceremony. But he was just like, no, I'm coming.
No, I don't think so.
You don't?
No, that's not the vibe I got from him at the ceremony. Like, I'm here anyway. And that's not the vibe I got from her. It was like, I tried to get you to leave already. That's it. And if it just, I didn't pick that up. I don't know when that was. And it's hard to tell based on, I don't know. We were just anticipating that moment. It never came. I don't know why the editor or the producers decided it was no longer needed. I think it was to trying to spin a narrative on a contestant, and so they didn't want to show us them not leaving, you know?
Maybe, yeah.
So who knows? I will say, it was funny seeing Dotun and Joey realize that Aaron came back at the rose ceremony, because they're like, where's Xavier? And now Aaron's here, and that was a little, fun, but I think we all knew Aaron was ultimately
yeah.
Oh, and just to say, he didn't come all the way back there for a rose ceremony. He came all the way back there just to further his Bachelor Nation career.
Well, true. But it was funny when Charity was like, can I talk to you, Aaron? And Dotun gave Joey a look like, yeah, bro, we're good. We're good. Right. But yeah, of course. I
like that Dotun and Joey, they seemed cool. They seemed very amicable. There wasn't any ill will.
Right.
They both understood that Charity liked both of them, and they're both great guys.
Yeah, I would say both very mature guys.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, then of course we had an interview with Aaron, and surprise, surprise, he's going on Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see, because I wonder if we're gonna get his actual personality. I think he was trying to be very like put together, and if that's just how he acts, then I don't know if I'm excited for him on Bachelor in Paradise. But being on The Bachelor and being on Paradise is a lot different, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Act. But, like, what is his natural personality?
That's what I have no idea. He felt fake on the show to me.
Right. But I'm like, I think that's just how he is in everyday life. Because even with his family, he seemed like that.
Yeah. It's just hard to know how people really act. Because if they're aware that cameras are watching them.
Yeah, true.
I think they are more likely to lose that maybe on the beach in Paradise, but I actually don't know. Okay, so that's in the Aaron. It was kind of a flop. I think they wanted more from that. They were trying to just grasp at straws. The real drama, I would say, from this episode came from this next part when the men finally get to meet, or the two guys, Joey and Dotun, get to meet Charity's family. Mm-hmm. And she had her mom, who we've seen before, and her dad, who we've seen from her last season on the show, and then a little bit when they saw her. Oh, did they see her this season? No, that was last season. Mm-hmm. And so we got to see them again, and her sister, who I don't remember from last season.
I don't either.
But played a big part in the drama this time around. And they they met Joey first. Mm-hmm. And going into it, she told them, I think, that she loved both of them. So her mother was already like, oh, Charity. Right. She said it very like sweetly, but she's like, she said decision making is something that she needs to work on, or something like that. Right. And so going into it, Joey, the first one, we were wondering if he was going to leave a good impression, and it looks like he gave a great impression.
Yeah, it seems like they all loved him. Her sister kept saying, I could see him as my brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm. So he had good eye contact.
Yes, which we've been noting throughout the whole season. She said that they are really... Didn't she say they're really, like, touchy-feely?
I don't know if she said touchy-feely.
Or maybe they had good chemistry.
Like they had a good chemistry.
Maybe so.
The sister also appreciated that Joey just came on right out and asked how they felt about the interracial relationship.
Yes.
Kind of gave insight to his feelings and how it was important that he acknowledged that it was, and not just try to, like sweep past it and say, oh, I don't see color.
Right.
I think that's the right way to go about it. And also her Charity sister seemed to as well.
Same.
So the mom also said that she liked his values. She questioned Joey on if he'd said I love, that they shared, that they loved each other, and he affirmed that, which of course her mom, at first I thought she said she was weirded out by it, or kind of like eyebrow raised about it, but I guess she seemed to like that.
I don't really recall.
And then it ended, that little segment, of him talking to the parents, with Joey's dad talking to Charity and them mumbling about sports. It's been a while.
You mean Charity's dad?
Yeah, Joey talking to Charity's dad, and he was mumbling about sports. You remember he had that accent. I don't want to attempt it because it's been so long since I heard it. I just remember it was a very mumbly, kind of low.
Southern. He was a very, gentle, quiet man, I felt like.
Right, but it's always good when you can start talking about sports as guys, father, son-in-law. The quicker you can get to that, because that's the bulk of it anyway, the better. So, going into that, really, they really like Joey. Really high note with Joey. I think you said that they could. Oh no, was it her? Who said that? Maybe that was in the Dotton date. For one of the guys, remember she said, and as you can see clearly, I always have something she said.
I think that was with Dotton.
Okay, so she goes into the Dotton date. She tells the family, have an open mind. I know you really like Joey, but don't go in there with biases. Just, get to know Dotton and judge him as if he were, any other guy. And then she sat him down and she was beaming like she does with Joey and Dotton. And I think that's when she said, what is it that she said? Like, oh, as you can see, I'm just smiling when I'm around him or something.
Something along those lines.
And it was just kind of weird. That's something someone says to you. Like, I can just tell that
you said that.
Anytime you're around him, you're smiling. But to say that about yourself, like, are you looking in a mirror? How do you know?
It was kind of weird that she felt like she needed to say that.
Almost as if she was preemptively like,
right.
I like him.
Right.
So Dotton launches into his very polished, put together, meet the parents mode. Right. Which
I thought it was fine. Yeah. Like, I thought it was okay.
But he seemed a little more
rigid.
Yeah, maybe, but it's more rigid. But I wouldn't say he was rigid. But I don't know. I guess the family, for whatever reason, liked Joey's. Like, they just all said they felt like Joey.
Well, remember her mom said in her one-on-one, she was like, Don seems like he has very polished answers, and it just seems a lot like what Charity's gone for in the past that hasn't worked out for her.
She did say that. And I was like, no, she already got rid of that guy. Xavier went home. Yeah. But apparently her mother still sees some of that in Dotton.
Right.
And her sister said, Joey just makes you glow,
Yeah.
So her sister, the mom and the sister, kind of made it clear after the Dotton date pretty immediately. Like, Dotton was a great guy, but if they had to choose, they chose Joey. And Charity went into panic mode. She immediately was defensive.
Right. She kind of reverted back to a child.
Oh, okay.
She did.
Well, that's a huge. I don't know if I would say she reverted back to child.
Okay, I thought when we were watching, you agreed. She kind of was acting a little bit like toddler throwing a fit.
Well, yeah, she did throw a fit and was kind of whiny. But she was just kept like, oh, that's not what I wanted to hear. Like, I need you to tell me. And
yeah, she really was like, no, Mom, I need you to tell me who to pick.
Because what happened was, after she reacted so negatively, her mother, they pulled back and were like, oh, well, either one you choose would be good.
Right.
But they had already said, like, oh, but Joey's the one.
Right.
But then when they went back, she was like, no, I need you to tell me. And they're like, well, now we don't want to because.
Right. And they were like, I mean, we said what we needed to say. Like, we're not going to just tell you, pick Joey. Like, I'm not going to make that decision for you. And then her and her mom went outside, and her mom was just like, Charity, I think you know deep down who you want to pick. You need to just listen to that.
Yeah, I really like that scene. Sometimes they try to get that same thing going with a lead talking to a producer. They'll pull a producer off, and you'll hear him talking, and the producer will be off camera, and the lead will be clearly talking to someone in production. And it's like, just still feels very produced, but this truly felt like a conversation between a mom and daughter.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting to see. Right. We got to see kind of just that raw emotion. And so that's what it ended with the families. With Charity kind of uncertain, or at least we thought, based on her family's response and maybe wanting more. And then we go to the final dates.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Fiji. I don't know if we said that. They're in Fiji. Mm-hmm. Beautiful location. Seemed very nice. Although I would say the dates, they didn't really go on Fiji-themed dates.
I don't even remember the dates. What did they do?
With Dotun and Joey, they both just met in the room and talked. Am I correct?
I think that is all they showed us.
Now that if they did more, it either was not memorable at all to the point that we just don't remember, or I truly just think that's all it was.
I think so too.
So
just in the rooms, them giving her gifts.
Right, which both were related to their journey.
Yeah.
Which just seemed, okay, cool. That's cool that they did that.
Right.
But just more with Joey. She seemed to really like it, and she told Joey that she loved him during their little date, and that she doesn't have any doubts about him. So at this point, with the family stuff going on and with Charity, I'm like, oh gosh. I mean, and with Charity saying this, I'm like, dang, whoa. I guess she's picking Joey. We were kind of hedging our bets by saying, well, this is what production does at the very last minute. The one we're all sure on, that's the one who they edit the most doubt into. But she just said, I love you and I have no doubts about you.
Right. Which that feels really weird to say to someone that you're about to break up with. Right. But it's almost just comes down to she must have also had no doubts about Dotun.
No, yeah, but I think it's that sipping of the Kool-Aid. I've been saying it since the beginning of this season.
Oh.
These leads, they get so caught up in the process and exploring their emotions to the fullest, blah, 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 that you end up saying, I think, very dumb and ill-advised stuff like that to someone.
Yeah, maybe
knowing that you are going to break up with them. I do think at this point she knew. So, like I said, this was more than just the 3. I mean, they had to make this show 3 hours, but that's how you end up with these segments from Kat and Brooke. I'm going to do them all right now. Like, Kat and Brooklyn, former contestants, got up there, and I truly don't even remember what they talked about.
They talked about Bachelor in Paradise, because they're both on Bachelor in Paradise.
No, they talked about who they thought should be the next Bachelor.
Oh, you're right.
And they very briefly showed a preview of Bachelor in Paradise. But I was like, that was pointless. But I guess they just needed a reason to segue into Bachelor in Paradise. Mm-hmm. We got the Paradise sneak peek, and it looked like an entertaining season.
Well, they were doing this whole bit about someone in this audience is gonna be dating the next Bachelor.
Oh my gosh, so dumb.
And so the whole time they were like, is it gonna be Brooklyn or Kat? Is it going to be this random girl from Brooklyn? Right. Is it going to be this random girl from Jersey? And then would interview them, and they would kind of tell a little bit about their story.
Right. So it ended up being the girl from Hawaii, and kind of was obvious that it was going to be her. But then the other one that they had get up and stand and say it might be her. If I'm her, if I wasn't like a plant or an actor, I'm like, okay, well that.
Yeah, that sucks. And then Jesse also doubled down and was like, you know what? If you're in the audience today and you want a chance to be on The Bachelor, date our next Bachelor, stand up. So then, some of the women stood up, but I'm just like, why are you doing this to these poor women?
I thought it was going to be something truly shocking, and where all of Joey's cast had already been casted, and they were just going to launch into his show right there, and he'd have to make a first impression with all these women right then at that moment. That would have been kind of weird, but also kind of like, whoa, you're right. We haven't done this before.
I think at the very least, they should have let that other girl go on, too.
I think.
Because really, at the end of the day, it was only between the two girls. And you're telling me you can't put an extra girl on there?
I think she's on the show, unless she was a plant and knew that she was just going to be doing that to make it seem like it was a random comp. Yeah, but also that lady who it ended up being, she 100% knew she was going on the show.
100%.
Even when her little background story, she gave a bio. If it was truly just an audience member, it'd be like, I don't know, I'm from, but she got up there and she said, I'm Leia from, and it was okay, so
for sure.
It's you, right?
For sure.
And then, and there was another dumb thing about this 3-hour show. The whole show, Jesse was like, we're going to do something that's never ever been done before, and it will be shocking.
They're on this kick of they have to make the finales shocking,
right? And it's because I guess I guess they like knew that they wanted to lean into the like true love story with Dotun and Charity and really play it up. And I think they knew that America would really be behind Joey as the bachelor, which we're going to get to. We're going to call Brooke out on some stuff. But they knew that they'd really have a bachelor that America and women would like in Joey and stuff. So it was going to be sweet, loving, everybody lovey-dovey. They knew Joey didn't have any ill wills. So they kind of were trying to find ways to manufacture drama and suspense.
True.
It just didn't play off because that thing that was so shocking that had never happened before in the history of finales was literally Joey handing that woman, the Hawaiian woman, an envelope and saying, "Don't open it until the show starts." And I'm like, if I wasn't so already bought into watching the show, I probably would have been insulted enough to stop watching the show.
Would you? I would open that envelope and seal it right back up.
Well, there's nothing in that envelope, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because they know someone would do just that. So I'm sure they just put some blank paper in an envelope, sealed it with a gold seal and handed it to them.
Yeah, you're right.
And they might not even know what's in the envelope until it happens. You know what I mean? So... yeah, and so we get to the final rose ceremony and the proposal segment. And at this point, I actually did think it might be Joey that she was picking. In fact, I think I was like, oh yeah, it's Joey. It's 100% Joey. Yeah. But Joey goes first, which usually means that person's getting rejected. You don't want to end on a sour note. So Joey gets out there. He goes through the whole spiel about how much he loves her. And it was really good stuff. It was really good speech and stuff. But, of course, she rejected him.
Yeah, he goes down to get on one knee, and she's like, wait. And I'm sure in that moment he wanted to throw up.
Yeah, you almost threw up.
I instantly started bawling.
Yeah, Brooke was crying.
I was
real tears.
Crying real tears. I just feel like Joey is such a good guy. Okay. And I feel sad. No one wants their heart broken like that. I genuinely felt a love connection between them. I thought he really loved her.
I actually, as the season went on, I actually was starting to be like, I don't know if this guy actually really likes her. What? I don't know if I was influenced by the family. The family's doubt about if he was genuine or what, but I truly was just like, I don't know. He just doesn't seem.
Oh my gosh!
But
I mean, justice for Joey, because as we know, he's the next Bachelor.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even say justice because he wasn't mad about anything.
Oh yeah, of course he was a gem when they asked him about it. Yeah, when he was getting dumped, he was just like, "Listen, I want you to be happy. I want you to be with who you think is the best match for you. It sucks, but it's okay."
And I'll be honest, it didn't seem like he was so hurt that he couldn't turn around and date 25 women on his own season. So that's why I was like, we're really crying for the next Bachelor. He'll be fine.
I didn't know at the time that he was going to be the next Bachelor.
I felt like it was pretty much in the bag because I don't know if I said it on the podcast or if I just said it when we were watching. From episode 1, from the very first few interactions, I was like, okay, they want this guy to be the new Bachelor. I'll give you that. Clearly,
They've
been pushing him all season, so it's been obvious, and he's good and whatever. So she picks Dotun, and he's relieved and ecstatic, and immediately starts to show way more personality than he's allowed himself to show.
True.
And they were having fun, and she seemed happy, and he had picked a nice ring. It was a big rock, and all's well that ends well. And, we've been saying, like, oh, we want a good classic love story. And maybe it's just because this season, I don't know what it was, but that's what this was billed as, and how they wanted it to end. But I don't think it compares to some of the other ones we've seen, like the Canadian Bachelorette.
Like the true love story?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, why?
Well, her and Dotun were a feel good love story, and you saw me watching it. I was literally pumping my fist when she picked Dotun, and he seems like a good guy. I'm not looking into any of the spoilers and seeing if he is actually a good guy. I'm not following him on Instagram.
Is that already out there?
Listen, I saw some stuff about and I don't even want to say it on the podcast. I don't even want to speak it out there.
Don't say it.
But I'm just like, look, that's where the movie ended for me. I'm not going to keep up with them after this. I'm hoping it works out for him.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I just was like, okay, that was an okay season. We've seen like the Bachelorette Canada, and spoiler alert, that relationship doesn't last. But I was like, it felt like a good ride.
I would agree. Yeah.
You know what I think? Okay. You know what I think it needs to give it that extra oomph when it comes to those, like, everyone says, oh, we just want the good love story one. The best romance movies, there has to be a little bit of pushback or something. And you don't want it to feel manufactured like it did with Dotun at the end there. And actually it didn't, but it was just a little bit of turbulence with him and his parents.
Oh, like you wanted a little bit of turbulence.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
The best ones that people are most interested in, it could be that, a little turbulence. But sometimes when it's too wrong, it's like, actually, y'all shouldn't be together.
Right.
I think the best scenario is when there's one guy where everyone's like, pick this guy. Mm-hmm. But she also has feelings for the one that everyone's like, why would you pick him?
Oh my gosh.
And so it feels good when they make the right choice. And you're like, yeah.
That's valid.
Both of these guys were such good guys that at the end of the day, it's not like it wasn't entertaining, but I was like, all right, yeah, you picked Joey. That's great. Oh, you picked Dotun. That's great, right?
Yeah.
I hate to bring it up again. Hannah Brown's season.
Oh my god!
It was Jed and Tyler Cameron, right?
What a mistake!
And everyone in America was screaming at their televisions, except for Jed's family. No, actually, Jed's family didn't even.
Yeah,
want him
they
to be
were
picked.
not even on board.
We're like, pick Tyler, please. You know, and so when she kind of quote unquote at the After the Rose got it, that was entertaining.
I will agree with you on that.
And that was the Bachelorette Canada season too. Bachelorette Canada season. Some of the other good seasons. It feels like the satisfying ending is when we feel like they picked the right one as opposed to the not so right one.
I get that.
Which Charity had two ones that were right, and we were like, okay, this is whichever one.
I mean, I love a love story like that. So I was very pleased that there were two people in the inn that I liked.
Okay.
Because that doesn't happen very often.
No, I get it. You were just living through Charity, like, oh man, I got too many good options.
Oh my gosh. Stop.
Okay, so like you said, and Jesse, they came out, I thought they seemed very into each other. Mm-hmm. I didn't seem like there was any turbulence, any stuff going on. Mm-mm. And so Jesse gave him a trip to Greece. Dotun announced that Charity was going on Dancing with the Stars. Joey, as we've said before, is our new bachelor.
That does not bode well for relationships, except for Sean Lowe. Sean Lowe went on Dancing with the Stars and did still end up getting married. But I feel like everybody else, it was like after that, the couple was done.
Yeah, you know what? That is interesting. I wonder. We'll have to look into it and see. Maybe what were the couples and why they didn't work out, and see if it has to do with the distance or demands of being on another reality TV show. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that happened. Joey's a new bachelor. Everyone seems excited about it that I've seen. Universally, people are excited about him as a bachelor. He got to meet his first contestant.
Was her name Layla?
I don't want to say. I don't remember.
I think it was Layla.
And she's also from Hawaii, she's from Hawaii. He lives there currently.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So, I mean, maybe that'll help, but off the bat, it did not seem like well, you know, who knows?
Are you kidding? They were having a good little flirt going on.
But that's because they're going to be dating on a reality TV show, and they were on TV at the time.
Yeah,
you're going to stand there awkwardly.
I actually thought it was cute.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that it wasn't cute, but I would be shocked if that's the girl he picked.
I mean, there have been times in the past where they did that, like night one, here are your first 5 girls, where it really was uncomfortable and awkward. And I felt like Joey did a really good job of not letting it be that.
Yeah, because he's a people pleaser. He'll say and do what needs to be done.
Oh my gosh. Stop crapping on Joey.
I don't know. Maybe my contrarian is coming out. Everybody loves him.
Gosh.
But I'm just like his uncle. What's his uncle?
Yeah, for real.
Was it Uncle Billy?
I don't know.
Uncle Bill?
But I'm sure we will see that uncle wrecking havoc on The Bachelor season.
I'm on his uncle's side. I need to see the real Joey. Oh my gosh. Where's the real Joey?
Our next show needs to have a really good villain for you to root for, because you've been missing out on that.
You know, it's crazy. I think we are going to... I hate to say this. I don't even want to say it. But when you're that high, you can only fall, you know? think about how many leads were like, yeah, we're so ready for them. And then their season comes like, oh my gosh, why did anyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm worried for him because we might realize the real Joey is not the.
I mean, yeah, there's got to be a dark side.
Or I don't even know if it's a dark side.
Well, okay, that's a little dramatic, but like, you know, he probably acts a certain way when he's stressed or under pressure. We all do.
Yeah, he did say that. And so that's wraps another season of The Bachelorette. We got The Golden Bachelor coming up. And
what's next? Is it Paradise?
The Golden Bachelor.
Okay, when does that start?
End of the month.
Okay, and then
Paradise in September.
Okay, got it.
And so because of that, because The Bachelorette is ending, Claim to Fame finale is next week. We're going to continue to do the show on Thursday, and that'll probably be our only show. It's just, and we'll just cover the Claim to Fame finale, not this Thursday, but next Thursday after it airs.
So, starting next week, we'll release on Friday?
Well, yeah. Thursday night, Friday.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, and so, speaking of Claim to Fame, they did not have it this week. We'll get the 2-hour season finale, and we'll wrap that one up as well. And since we don't have any Claim to Fame to talk about, we will briefly, because we don't want to spoil it too much and get too much into spoiler discussions for people who listen and don't watch the Big Brother live feed, so they don't want to be spoiled. They just want to watch the episodes. But before we get to that, I would love to hear the sick Brooke edition of Brooke's Buzz. Brooke, I know you're over there. I know you're under the weather, but for your listeners, for your husband, for your co-host, can you fill us in on what's been happening on your corner of reality TV this week? This week.
Yeah. So, where to begin? On Thursday, or on the episode that came out last Friday, we had a convo about the podcast with Rachel and Bethany.
Yeah.
And, so go back and listen to that, because as you all know, I was thrilled that Raquel spoke. Okay, she's out there. She's making moves.
Right, and just on that, if you haven't listened to that podcast, I thought it was a really good discussion about reality TV and exploitation in general.
So after that, I realized that the other 2 parts of the podcast were out.
Oh my goodness.
And I had not listened to them, so I went and listened to them. And honestly, it was just more of the same. You know, Raquel was kind of, she was trying to rewrite some things that, you know, she felt like Bravo had put out there. But it really wasn't anything too earth-shattering. Bethany continued to double down on, you know, exploitation of reality TV stars without representation. And she took a couple digs at Andy Cohen. I'm just like, Bethany, you better watch out. Okay? Like, I doubt Andy's threatened at all. Sorry. But still, like, simmer down, I think, a little bit.
Well, okay, so Bethany's not on the Housewife show anymore, right?
No,
Well, she has to drum up attention somehow.
Right,
so she gets the biggest scandal on reality TV on her show. Of course, that keeps her. Now you're talking about Bethany Frankel on this podcast, and we probably wouldn't have.
Right.
And then also taking shots at Andy Cohen. I'm sure she's hoping Andy Cohen would respond, because his big audience he's talking to them about Bethany, which would keep them in. But Andy knows better, and I'm sure probably won't say anything.
And Bethany tried to pull the card, oh, well, you reached out to me. I did not reach out to you. Why did you want to come on my podcast? And it's kind of just like, Bethany, give it a rest. That must be exhausting for you, trying to, like, constantly not be the problem, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's just the name of the game, I think, for her.
Well, anyway, the one thing that I did like was that Raquel said that in the scene that her and Tom filmed at the very end, she said, why did you take a recording of me without me knowing? And he, you know, had some stupid, typical gaslighting response of like, oh, well, I just wanted to play it back for you later so you could see how beautiful you were. And Raquel, bless her, at the time probably was kind of like, oh, okay, but she's since seen the light, I do believe. But she said that Tom refused to film until they took that part out because it made him look in a bad light. Well, duh. And that makes sense because when that was all going on, we were hearing Tom's refusing to film anymore, but we didn't know why. So I thought that was pretty interesting. She said that she has a no contact order with every single person on the cast, so she does not intend to speak to any of them ever again. She says she'll never do reality TV again, which I think she might reconsider because, again, the money is more than you're making at a day job. Okay?
Well, she's not looking to have a day job. She just wants to be an influencer.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
So she also said that she was just gonna travel. She didn't really know where she was gonna live, and that she wants to, surprise, surprise, start a podcast. Now, she did also say that she well, one of the things that she was, kind of talking about was, well, I didn't get, everybody else is profiting off of this but me. And I'm like, but you could be. You very well could be.
No, she is profiting off this.
Yeah.
To say that she isn't, she's just not profiting as much. She literally got paid to be on TV and talk about her and cheating on, or being a part of Tom cheating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They already paid her to talk about it on the reunion.
Yeah.
So I know she's saying everyone profited off of it, but if that doesn't happen at all on Vanderpump Rules, you're definitely not on Bethany Frankel's podcast. You're definitely not, getting all the just attention that you would be getting, because if I remember, I don't watch the show, but I just remember the vibe of, man, Vanderpump Rules felt like it was dying after the what was her name? The Stassi incident, yeah. And everyone was just kind of like, oh, maybe this is best that it end.
Right.
Then it kind of got revitalized,
right.
And she could have just stayed on the cast and continued to be the famous reality star, but of course, she just doesn't. She wants to continue to profit without being cast in a negative light. So that's all it is. It's just been to try to get to the positive part of the profit.
Well, so, Bethany has been going on this campaign for reality stars to join a union, and that they should go on strike. And my all-time favorite reality TV villain, Spencer and Heidi from The Hills, made a very funny video where they were like, hey, we're not on strike. We would love to be on a reality show. Please hire us today. Yeah. We are ready. We will do anything. And I loved it. I think justice for Heidi and Spencer.
Why justice? What happened to them?
People just really shamed them for how they were on The Hills, when I think it was unnecessary. Heidi, I don't know if you're familiar with this at all, but Heidi, one of her big storylines was that she had a ton of plastic surgery.
Yeah.
And she looked very different, and it was like this big thing. And now every single one of those girls from The Hills have the same exact face. They have done the same exact surgeries, the same exact fillers, the same exact everything, and they owe her an apology. Okay, she was just before her time. She was just ahead of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're great. I think sometimes I watch their Snapchat stories. I think they're very funny.
Okay.
I think I would totally watch a show if they were on it. Hey, if y'all want to be a guest on the podcast, come on down.
I think their podcast gets considerably more than ours does. So
okay,
maybe
well,
we want to be guests on their podcast.
If y'all want us on your podcast, bring us in.
Okay.
Okay, last thing, I started watching, Couples Retreat, 90-Day Couples Retreat. There are legit, from what it appears that there are legit licensed therapists there, and I think that's great. Even if it is all on TV, there really could be good work done. And I'm trying to audition. Where do I need to go? Who do I need to talk to? Because I'm ready. I'm ready to be booked and busy. So hit me up.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
There you go. Thanks for soldiering through. And we all are praying you feel better. Okay. And we also watched Project Runway. And Kato went home, and I'm glad to see her go.
It was some drama.
She and Project have just been whining and complaining.
For several weeks now. They have been on this, like, we are not being judged fairly. They are not giving me the credit that I deserve.
And they're being judged. She was being judged very fairly. She would make admittedly good-looking things, but she would be mad that she wasn't winning. But they have like this distinctions. You could be on the bottom 3. You can be just safe, as in like, okay, yeah, you made a good look. You're safe on to the next round. And then you could be in the top 3, right? So she really wasn't in the top 3, and she was mad about that. But I can't recall a look that I was like, oh my goodness.
Right.
It's kind of like, I hate to say this, Cattell, but it was kind of like, wow, did you see, that's like a really cool mom fashion. Like, I don't see Cattell, and I know she designs for older women and for all women.
And that's what she kept doubling down on, because they were kind of like, your outfit last week was a little boring. And she was like, it wasn't boring. The pants were very tailored. The shirt was different.
She was like, you can't get this anywhere.
And she was like, I'm busy. My clients want what I make. This is, I make for a certain woman and they buy it. And so they were all kind of like, well, then if that's what you want, okay, go back to that life.
Right.
But I thought that they were all very nice. In years past, Heidi would have just ripped her a new one.
Not just Heidi. There was a lot of judges that would have just kind of torn into her. But Brandon Maxwell, you could see on his face, was just like, all right, we'll send you home right now to those clients.
Right. And she also pulled the card of, I don't have to be here. Y'all called me to be on this show. And it's kind of just like, okay, then don't.
But also, Kato, you were not their first call. That I promise.
Oh, gosh.
That I promise you. I promise you. I promise you, you were not their first call.
Oh, my gosh.
They were a couple that said no before they got to your name on the list. And that's just based on your style. Anyways, I just could not stand how how disparaging she was of the other designers.
Yeah.
And her entitlement. She seemed like she felt, I have not seen her other seasons, but I guess she came close to winning a couple times and thus maybe felt like she deserved to win or deserved to be as highly rated as she's been in the past. But fashion moves on. The judges are the judges, and they have the right to their opinions, and they get paid to judge your work.
Right.
And if you don't want to go continue in that agreement, go home. And they sent you home. I'm glad it's over. I actually do think maybe she was better than some of the designers that are still there. But it's just like, okay, I don't think you're going to win. And clearly, if you don't win, you're just going to get more and more of a canker sore. I don't know if that's even a word people use to describe her personality. Right. But that's just what it felt like. So, all right, bye, Kato. And I don't think we watched any other.
I think that's it.
We also, of course, are always watching the 24/7 live feeds of Big Brother. And we are not going to, on shows where we're ahead, where we know more than that's been aired on TV, we're not going to talk too much about it. But this week
what?
Well, we're not going to talk about it, but we will talk about the Showmance. Well, we'll do a Showmance watch.
Oh, boy.
Just a check-in on Jared and Blue. Jared is just kind of not. He's just like, this guy is, I don't know. I feel bad for Sari, that her son is getting exposed like this on national TV.
Yeah, and Sari, I think, is not fully understanding what's going on. Like, she's said some things about, like, I know you don't like Blue. I know you're just... Well,
from admittedly a bit of sleuthing from people online, maybe me included, it's been determined that Jared has a relationship prior to the show. And he said as much on the live feeds that he had.
To Blue?
No, to just Sari.
Oh.
That he had a relationship with a girl from his hometown that Sari is friends with and really likes a lot. There's pictures of them online hanging out together. So long story short, Suri is the mother who's like, I know you're not into this girl because you're already into what's her face at home, right? Mm-hmm. And so, of course, she's coming from that angle. So she said some disparaging things about Blue and how she feels like Blue is the one instigating this. But that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Jared and Blue are both grown adults flirting with each other equally. He's in fact said, like, is it cheating if you're in a relationship but you just still go into a showmance anyway?
Oh my god.
They're always talking about flirting and suggestive things. And he said that I'm falling for you. And it's just like... but he's also said stuff like he likes to call women females, which I think culturally isn't as bad as some people think. I understand why you don't do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're not dogs. They're not animals. You know, we're all humans. There's women and there's men. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I think culturally, some people, I think there's some, well, we don't have time. We don't have time to get into that. Anyways, he said stuff like, I didn't know, like I had to learn that females were people too. Mm-hmm. Verbatim, he said that.
Yeah.
And to Blue sometimes, he said some pretty misogynistic stuff.
And Blue has made like eye contact with the camera when some of these things have been going on. Kind of like this guy.
But she's also said like, oh, I think I'm changing him. Right. To other women in the house. And like
women. PSA, you're not going to be the one to change him.
Right.
You cannot change him.
So, but I think also it just comes down to they both were looking to flirt with somebody.
Definitely.
And are both game. And because they've also both talked to on the other side of the house about getting the other one out. Mm-hmm. As if like, I'll drop them in a second. Mm-hmm. But he said, not only that, he's said multiple times to her, like, oh, I have this secret in the house that I just want to tell you about. Oh and I can't tell you too much about my home life because you'll start to put two and two together. And man, if Blue was paying attention at all, she would be like, do you have a relative in the house? Oh my gosh, is it Tariq? Because you look just like her.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll get more into it on Thursday. I'm sure there'll be much more. This is actually a crazy week if you want to watch the live feeds. They are free on Pluto TV. Yep. In fact, you do
have to watch commercials, but they're pretty short.
Right, yeah. You can actually get as much as you want to watching the feeds and not watch the show. Mm-hmm. So if you're just home alone, go to Pluto TV, go to the Big Brother feed section and just watch people in the house. You know, kind of fly on the wall, watch them play the game and be paranoid and all that good stuff. So yeah, it was kind of like this week. Brooke's kind of under the weather, but we're trucking it along. We got it out anyway. We're going to have much more to say about Big Brother come Thursday after the live episode when everyone's caught up and we can talk about it more. And hopefully we can discuss the pressure cooker as it's being while it's happening
live from the pressure cooker.
Podcast. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking, well, it's a lot's going on a Thursday, so we'll just see how that ends up coming. But we're going to have another episode this week regardless. We hope you enjoyed listening to this sick edition of The People's Rose. And I do mean sick like infirmity, not sick like sick podcast, this is awesome, bro. And just keep that in mind when you rate us. Give us some sick points, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, we please hope that you continue to listen, rate us, and review us on whatever podcast platform you use. You can join us in a discussion on Reality TV Online on most social media platforms at The People's Rose. We're on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, talking in all the communities about our favorite reality TV shows. So follow us there. And finally, we just hope you have a blessed week and everything goes much better in your world than it does in the reality TV world. So we hope to hear from you again later this week.
Bye.
All right. Bye.